What's going on, y'all? Nick here, coming to you with another video. Um, I won't be before you too long, but I titled this video "True Leaders Die for What They Believe in." I'm gonna give some people time to come into the chat, but in short, the reason why I'm making this video is because it's really been put on my mind for quite some time. I remember when I was part of that cult, right? And I'm sure many of you know exactly what I'm talking about. But I remember when I was part of that cult that you would have a bunch of quote unquote leaders, people that were in, leadership, and they had their disagreements about what was taking place in the cult. They were, always saying things like, oh, what they disagree with, and I can't stand what's taking place, and all this other stuff, right? And why am I even mentioning this? Bless you, brother Timothy. Bless you dearly, my brother. And why am I even mentioning this? I'm mentioning this because they would say all these things, but then we hear now maybe 2, 3 months, 4 months removed from the situation, and we seeing that many of these leaders are so spineless, right? Many of them are so weak and they stay in the same exact positions that they are, right? And despite all the talking, all the bumping of the gums they were doing, they stay in those same positions. And it just made me wonder, like, what is it? How in the world could we have ever thought at one point in time that these were actual leaders within Israel, right? The template, bless you, shalom, shalom, kitchen, oh, kitchen, God bless you. But yeah, it's just a fact, right? There's a bunch of these weak leaders. They say all these things. They have these concerns, but they stay mute when it comes time to actually defend their case, right? They stay mute. And I'll give you a perfect example, right? Let me see if I could share my screen real quick, and try to follow along with me. All right, let me share the entire screen. And let's actually go to this first verse, right? This is in First Peter 3. And I'm going to read from verse 14. And it says, "But and if ye suffer for righteousness' sake, happy are ye, and be not afraid of their terror, neither be troubled. But sanctify Yah, your Elohim, in your hearts, and be ready always to give an answer to every man that asketh you a reason of the hope that is in you with meekness and fear." And I'm going to stop right here. Why am I saying this? Because think about what I'm saying, right? I would hear all the time, like, there used to be like these leadership meetings, right? And there's a bunch of elders that don't agree with this particular individual, but yet when it comes time to defend their case, right, to give a reason of their hope, they stay mute. And meanwhile, you have this one man telling them, bring out verses to support your case, and these guys, they can't say nothing, right? And then despite all the talking, like, I'll give you a perfect example. I remember one time I was with an elder, right? I was literally with an elder, and we were literally by the creek, right? Again, for those of you who know, y'all know, but I was literally at the creek speaking with this particular elder for about a hot maybe 1, 2 hours, y'all. No exaggeration. And he was explaining to me his grievances with what was taking place in that cult. Mind you, like I said, 2, 3, 4 months later, the person is still there, and it makes me think, like, man, what was all of that? It was just you bumping your gums? Was that all it was? Was it just talk, rhetoric? What happened to standing on the courage of your convictions? So this is the reason why, if you guys, probably seen the thumbnail, you probably saw a picture. Now, I already know Peter wasn't actually, white, but that's not the point. The concept, right, is that you had Peter, who at one point in time, denied the Messiah 3 times. He denied the Messiah 3 times. But by the point of that in the point of time at that picture, that I posted as a thumbnail, you see that Peter had so much courage in the Messiah that he was willing to get crucified upside down. And that's what I really want to point out today. Like, do we have that? Kitchen clock, very good. Fear man. Will we get to a point in time where we can overcome that fear of man, that no matter what we are doing in our lives, we are going to stand on the courage of our convictions. If this is what we actually believe in, you're going to stand on it, bar none. And nobody's going to intimidate you. Nobody's going to inject you with fear to the point where you say, you know what, I can't stand on the Messiah's words. I'll give you a perfect example, right? Let's actually go to this verse right here. This is John 15, verse 18 to 25. And it says, if now, mind you, this is Yeshua speaking. And it says, if the world hate you, ye know that it hated me before it hated you. You see, a lot of the persecution that you guys are going through right now, you guys may think that you're the only one going through it. But no, the Messiah said he went through it before you, right? And ye were of the world, ye were of the world would love his own. But because ye are not of the world, but I have chosen you out of the world, therefore the world hated you. And so this is my question to you all right now, right? Are you of the world? And this is all going to make sense. Are you of the world? Because if you are of the world, then by all means, you don't expect no persecution. Go about your merry way, live your life. But if you are not of the world, right, because Christ had called you out of it, then just understand you're going to get persecuted. And this is my question for all the leaders out there, right, quote unquote. Why are you allowing persecution to prevent you from actually walking on the truth in Messiah? Now, mind you, we look at that thumbnail, y'all. That thumbnail, we looking at literally Peter being crucified upside down. Ain't none of these leaders going through that right now. No, none of these individuals, I promise you, they ain't going through nothing of that sort right now. All they'll do is go through some words. You probably might have some big man say, I'm the man, yeah, I'm the man, yeah. And he might huff and puff and he might, berate you. That's the most that's going to happen. Ain't none of them going to be touched or afflicted physically. And yet they still filled with that fear. It's a joke. It's pathetic. It's pathetic. I'm going to show one last thing before I dive right in, right? This is a picture right here. I hope you guys can all see it. I seen it way back in the day, and it always resonated with me, right? You can see that word there, boss, and then you see here a leader. You see, our boss will tell, minions what to do, right? These peons, right? They will tell them what to do. Meanwhile, they sit on their high chair, and then it's actually you as the peon, as the quote-unquote lay member, you're the one that's actually moving the mission along. You see that word there, mission? You're the one that's actually moving the mission along. But you see, a leader is someone who's in the front. And I don't know if you guys could even see the subtleties of their faces, but you can actually see the peons right here. They all squinting, and they actually have a grimace on their face. But you can actually see, if you guys could see the subtle details. The leader is saying, come on, let's go on. Let's march on. And you can actually see all these people, they're actually smiling. Why? Because they're getting strength from the leader. You see, think about, let's go back to Yeshua, for example, right? Yeshua is saying, the world hated me first. You see, people, Peter, where do you think he got the strength to be crucified in the first place, y'all? Don't you think he probably was looking at Jesus, the Messiah, and saw that Jesus actually took death gracefully? Yeah, they beat on him, they spit on him, they called him names, they hammered a crown of thorns in his head. Yeah, but this man, the whole time, he just took it and reviled not. And Peter's looking at that. Why do you think Peter got the strength that he got when it came for his turn to be crucified? Because he saw it from his leader. And this is the thing, right? You don't see that type of leadership today, especially back in that cult. So these people, what they will do is they will send you out there. They'll pump you up with all their grievances. Man, I see this, I see that, I see all right. They fill you up with that, and meanwhile, when you leave, but they still in there. What type of leadership is that? What type of leadership is that? I want to share something with you guys. Again, I don't mean to be, I'm not going to be long before y'all at all, but many of you, please put it in the chat. How many of you guys ever read 2 Maccabees chapter 7, where it talks about the mother who saw that her 7 boys all died? Please put it in the chat. Please put a yes in the chat if you ever read that chapter before, where in 2 Maccabees chapter 7, you will see the mom witness her 7 sons all die because they refused to eat pork. How many of you read that? Please put a yes in the chat. I see Kitchen Clock already with the yes. Sister Angelica, bless you, sis. You see, yes. Like we've shalom to you, sis. Right? So many of us have read that, right? Crazy Gardener, blessings, right? Yes. So many of us have read that account before, but I want to share something extremely powerful with you all, right? Because many people rarely talk about where did these young men get their strength from? Where did these young men get their strength from? I'm about to show y'all. So if you go to the chapter right before 7, obviously, right? It's chapter 6. Let's see where they got their strength from. Let's go there. All right. This is 2 Maccabees chapter 6. And I'm going to start from verse 18. All right. And you can see right here, it says, Eliezer dies for his faith. And I want y'all to check this out, y'all. There was an elderly and highly respected teacher of the law by the name of Eleazar. All right. So right here, we've seen his pedigree. He's an elder in Israel. He's highly respected, and he's a teacher, y'all. Right? A teacher of the law by the name of Eleazar, whose mouth was being forced open to make him eat pork. But he preferred an honorable death rather than a life of disgrace. You see, now this is what I'm talking about, y'all. This is a man who would prefer death rather than a life of disgrace. And like I said earlier in this live, many of these people, they're not dying. We're not being persecuted the same way these people of old were being persecuted. Yeah, they might say a couple of things. They might, talk bad about us. They might try to shame us, air out your dirty laundry. But man, these people were not being put to death, y'all. But he preferred an honorable death rather than a life of disgrace. So he spit out the meat and went willingly to the place of torture. Look at that. He went willingly to the place of torture. How many of us are doing that today? Showing how people should have courage to refuse unclean food, even if it costs them their lives. Mercy, mercy, mercy. So check this out, y'all. Check this out. Y'all got it. So this man, just for eating unclean food, he would rather die. You know how many times I've heard, to digress a bit. I used to talk about that with my natural family members, and they would joke, they're like, hey man, the Most High is not gonna kill me for no pork. You see the mindset of some people? Man, the Most High is not gonna kill me for no shrimp. And they lax and they belittle the actual commandment of the Most High. But this man, Eliezer, he said, I'm willing to die so that I will not eat unclean food. Where is that? Some people may think that's a very minuscule or light thing within the law. But for him, he was so convicted of, he had so much conviction behind that law, he would prefer death. And I want y'all to see the poetic nature of how it's written, y'all. Look what it says. Let's go back. Look at what it says. Those in charge of the sacrifice had been friends of Eleazar for a long time, and because of this friendship, they told him privately to bring meat that was lawful for him to eat. He need only to pretend to eat the pork. They said, and in this way, he would not be put to death. So do you guys understand, y'all, what's actually taking place? This man, in other words, his friends are just like, okay, you know what? We're gonna bring clean food for you. We're gonna bring clean food for you. Let's say beef, and all you gotta do is pretend that it's pork, and they won't torture you. That's what his friends were saying. And look at what Eliezer ends up saying. Look at his response. But Eliezer made a decision worthy of his gray hair and advanced age. I'm gonna read that one more time. This is so beautiful, y'all. But Eliezer made a decision worthy of his gray hair and advanced age. Look at that, y'all. I want y'all to understand something. Just because somebody has grays on their hair, on their head, right? That does not mean they are actually worthy of it. Some people are not worthy of their gray hair or advanced age. Some people, they just simply live long and you're going to get it by nature. But to be worthy of that gray hair, look at the decision that Eliezer makes. Look at, let's continue. It says, all his life he had lived in perfect obedience to Yah's holy laws. So he replied, kill me here and now. Mercy, mercy, mercy. Such deception is not worthy of a man of my years. Many, and here's the key, y'all, many young people would think that I had denied my faith after I was 90 years old. If I pretended to eat this meat just to live a little while longer, it would bring shame and disgrace on me and lead many young people astray. Mercy, look at this, y'all. Do you hear the response of Eliezer? Eliezer is saying that even if I pretend, even if I'm eating beef, but I pretend that it is pork, I would be living in shame and disgrace. And I will be letting all the young people that were looking up to me, I'll be letting them down. And this is what I'm just picturing in my mind, y'all. I'm just picturing this in my mind. How many young people probably was looking at these older gentlemen back in that cult, and they were hoping that they will actually, stand up for righteousness, and then they seeing these people mute. They seeing these people just completely mute, completely spineless, a bunch of jelly bags. Do you know what that would do to a young man, a young daughter of Zion that was looking up to you? That really, when the time came for you to show us the courage of your convictions, when the time came for you to actually stand up, mind you, these people are not being put to death. The worst that they're going to get is probably, a bunch of words, people bumping their gums. That's the worst they're going to get. They were not being put to death like Eliezer was. But even at that, they are so weak. They're so spineless. They can't even endure no hardship whatsoever. They're just like Peter when he denied Christ. They're just like Peter when he denied Christ those 3 times. Oh, I didn't know the Messiah. That was not me. I'm not one of those disciples. Nah, stop. That's not me. That's exactly how they act. I never said that. they totally act like the grievances they had while they were in that cult, all of a sudden they silent. And this is what I'm saying. Where are those leaders that will actually be willing to suffer persecution, would be willing to go through the ridicule so that they can actually be an example unto the young people behind them? And let's check it out. There's more, y'all. There's more. For the present, I might be able to escape what you could do to me. But whether I live or die, I cannot escape Yahweh Almighty. If I die bravely now, it will show that I deserved my long life. It will also set a good example of the way young people should be, willing and glad to die for our sacred and respected law. So time out. Look at what this man is saying. It will also set a good example of the way young people should. Whoa. He's not even, this man, according to Eliezer, he's saying that we should be willing to die. We should be willing and glad, We should be willing and glad to die for our sacred and respected laws. I want to ask y'all something, y'all. How many of y'all, when y'all first came to the faith, were working jobs that probably told y'all you got to come on the Sabbath? Can y'all please put it on the chat? I remember, it just makes me remember there's so many ways we get persecuted even now. I remember when I first came to the faith and, I came to the knowledge of the Sabbath, there was many jobs that was asking me to work on the Shabbat. And in those moments, what do you do then, right? Are you willing to be persecuted? I see my brother Aaron with the hands. Yeah, I remember those days vividly, y'all. Yeah, do you know how many of y'all were persecuted when, Christmas came and all your family members are, peer pressuring you? Oh, you're not going to come on, it's Christmas, man. You never miss Christmas. And now you got to be the sore thumb to stick out. Do y'all remember that? These were all those little minor persecutions that we probably all had to overcome. And I'm only saying this because, again, y'all, you see, these are ways, it's almost like Apostle Paul when he said, I die daily. Somebody don't need to have a knife to your throat. Somebody doesn't have to run a sword through your gut in order for you to die. We die daily, y'all. There's many ways that we give up of ourselves on a day-to-day basis. But the question is, are you willing to do that, though? Are you willing to actually deny yourself for the sake of Christ? Or are you going to cave into the peer pressure, cave into that almighty dollar? You better get your ass to work or you're going to get fired. And where's the courage that even if you did lose your job, the Most High could bless you with probably a better one? You get what I'm saying? Angelica, yes, sir. Timothy, I had to turn down several jobs to stay righteous. That's what I'm talking. And that's why you're my brother. That's why you're my brother. I had to leave a job offer because they required Sabbath. You see, that's why you're my brother. Sister Shay, absolutely. This is what I'm talking about. You see, what you got to understand is that these are the people that I rock with, y'all. These are the people I rock with. Because you got to understand, I only brought up the cult because when I was witnessing the double-mindedness of some of these quote-unquote people, they telling you that, oh man, this is not right, this is not this is, they have all these complaints. But when I see that they can't actually stand up like grown-ass men, grown-ass women, and all they were doing was bumping their gums, how do you expect me as a young man to follow after that? Are you walking in the vein of Eleazar, who was willing to die for his faith? And you saw his mindset. He said that I need to leave a good example for the young people behind me, y'all. But let's go back. Again, I don't want to be too long with all the side rhetoric. Let's go back because this story is so beautiful. It will also set a good example of the way young people should be willing and glad to die. Were you guys glad to give up that job? Y'all probably would getting paid good, but hey, they told you got to work on Shabbat. You were glad to give it up. Were you glad? Were you glad to stop going to those Christmas parties, to those birthday parties? Were you glad? Were you glad to be spoken of ill, evilly spoken of just because you don't want to rock with people who are in the cult? Were you glad? Glad to die for our sacred and respected laws. And as soon as he said these things, look what happened, y'all. Look what happened. Mind you, remember, these guys were their friends, right? Look at what they said, right? Back in 21, those in charge of the sacrifice had been friends of Eleazar. Look at what takes place here, y'all. As soon as he said these things, he went off to be tortured. And the very people who had treated him kindly a few minutes before now turned against him because they thought he had spoken like a madman. You see, there's a lot of people, they look at you, and you got to understand, y'all, because they don't understand what it means to actually have conviction, to stand on the courage of your convictions, because many people don't understand that, what it actually takes to die daily for Christ. You know what they do? They start to hate you. They start to revile you. showing you their true colors. That's what the same people who was on your side, and they're like, oh man, it's just a look, bro. I don't even think about it as a Christmas party. It's just a get together. Don't even look at the Christmas tree in the corner. It's just look. It's just us as family coming together. That's all it really is. We just share, giving gifts. Right? Sorry about that. I had to mute that. There was I'm in the library, so there was like somebody was speaking on intercom. But do you guys understand what I'm saying? Oh, man, don't worry about that, man. It's just a get together. We're just sharing gifts, man. Surely there's nothing wrong, and surely the Bible doesn't say anything wrong about sharing gifts with each other, right? And this is how they get you. And if you actually stand on the courage of your convictions, you'll see your family members. Some of you probably lost your wives. Some of you lost, quote unquote, the boyfriend or the girlfriend, your posse. People who once called you brothers and sisters, now they think you're a madman. Why? Because you're standing on the courage of your convictions. You're willing to die for what you believe in. But they don't understand that. So now they're going to start to hate you. And let's see what keeps happening, y'all. As soon as he said these things, he went off to be tortured. And the very people who had treated him kindly a few minutes before now turned against him because they thought he had spoken like a madman. When they had beaten him almost to the point of death, he groaned and said, Yahweh possesses all holy knowledge. He knows I could have escaped these terrible sufferings and death. Yet he also knows that I gladly suffer these things because I fear him. I gladly suffer these things because I fear him. So Eliezer died, but his courageous death was remembered as a glorious example, not only by young people, but by the entire nation as well. And that's what I'm talking about, y'all. You see, the way you go out, the way you choose to go out, you have the ability to be remembered for the rest of your life. You so focused on the temporary, right? Oh, they're gonna slander my name. Oh, they're gonna speak bad about me and my family. You're so worried about that, and you don't even realize if you actually stand up like a man, stand up like a woman, right? Stand on the courage of your convictions. The way you choose to leave, your name can be remembered for the rest of your life. It reminds me of the passage of scripture that says that better is the day of one's death than the day of one's birth. Hey, but Haslam bless you, by the way. Thank you for coming in. He said, yep, lost wife and son, and it's worth every bit. Yeah, exactly. You see, and this is what I'm talking, my brother, that's why I rock with you. You see, every single one of you have testimonies right now of the things you were willing to suffer and go through, all for the sake of following after Yeshua. But this is what I'm trying to get you to understand, right? Where did that courage and conviction come from? Because Yeshua did it first, right? Yeshua did it first. Let's go back to it, right? Yeshua wasn't that boss just telling you, hey, how about you go die? No. He was that leader that was in the front who died and got persecuted and suffered first. Now you have this courage and conviction to follow after that. You get what I'm saying? That's what it was. Because Jesus was an actual leader, right? But there's more, right? Because again, I know I'm reading a lot, but I want to show you something. You see, the strength of that elderly man, that teacher, Eliezer, he birthed a whole generation of young people who was willing to stand on the courage of their convictions to keep the righteousness of Yah's laws. Let's actually read it, right? Let's read it. All right, so that's the end of chapter 6. So now we in chapter 7, and check this out, y'all. This is so beautiful. Many of you know the story, so this might be a refresher, but I just want you to understand what gave birth to that story. What gave birth to that story? What gave these 7 brothers the conviction that they had? You can see it's called a mother and her sons died for their faith. This is verse 7, verse 1. On another occasion, a Jewish mother and her 7 sons were arrested. The king was having them beaten to force them to eat pork. Mercy, y'all. Then one of the young men said, "What do you hope to gain by doing this?" Come on, man. Do you see the boldness of the youth? Do you see the boldness of the youth? Like, come on, man. I'm sorry, y'all. I have no choice. When I see these things, I get so excited. Because think about it. You getting beat up. You got a black eye. You leaking, right? Your face is probably all swollen and puffed up. And he got the boldness to say, what do you think? What do you hope to gain by doing this? You see, most people, because they get beat up and they so scared, they will just shut up. Like, okay, I'm done. I'm done. I'm sorry, and they will capitulate. This dude have the boldness to say, "What do you hope to do? What do you hope to do accomplish here?" Could you imagine how much more angry he made those guards? They here beating you in the flesh, and here you are like, what are you trying to accomplish here? What's your angle? What's your I could just imagine how these guys were probably looking at this dude, like, what the hell is wrong with this guy, But there you go. Right? There you go. All because of Eliezer, y'all. All because of that old man in chapter 6. What do you hope to gain by doing this? We would rather, oh my gosh, we would rather die than abandon the traditions of our ancestors. This made the king so, just like I said, y'all, this made the king so furious that he gave orders for huge pans and kettles to be heated red hot, and it was done immediately. Then he told his men to cut off the tongue of the one who had spoken and to scalp him and chop off his hands and feet, while his mother and 6 brothers looked on. After the young man had been reduced to a helpless mass of breathing flesh, the king gave orders for him to be carried over and thrown into one of the pans. Man, as a cloud of smoke steamed up from the pan, the brothers and their mother encouraged. Look, man, come on, bro. I'm literally in the library, y'all. I'm trying to contain myself so bad. You see them literally cooking your brother, and look at what they saying, y'all. The brothers and their mother encouraged one another to die bravely, saying, Yahweh Elohim is looking on and understands our suffering. Moshe made this clear when he wrote a song condemning those who had abandoned Yahweh. He said, Yahweh will have mercy on those who serve him. After the first brother had died in this way, the soldiers started amusing themselves with the second one by tearing their hair and skins from his head. Oh my gosh. Where the sisters at? Where the sisters at? The sisters who get their hair done. I used to see it back in the day where these, that even doing the braids, you can see some of these girls literally screaming like, because they do it so tight. I hear, especially the Nigerians, man. I hear the Nigerians be making these tight braids. They got these girls in the salon squealing. So could you imagine? And that's just for braiding hair. Could you imagine they pulling out your hair? They pulling out the hair on your beard. Do you understand the pain? Do you understand the level of pain and suffering that they're going through, y'all? And mind you, the soldiers, they said they were amusing themselves. So while they doing this to the 6th brother now, they laughing. Like, look at this clown, look at this guy. And they hear, this is what they do to you, y'all. You see, they are there to ridicule you. Come on, let's get it. After the first brother had died in this way, the soldiers started amusing themselves with the second one by tearing their hair and skin, my gosh, from his head. Then they asked him, now will you eat this pork, or do you want us to chop off your hands and feet one by one? He replied in his native language, so now I will never eat it. Oh my gosh, exclamation mark. So he said it with some power, y'all. So the soldiers tortured him just as they had the first one. But with his dying breath, he cried out to the king, you butcher, you may kill us, but the king of the universe will raise us from the dead and give us eternal life because we have obeyed his laws. You see, this is what I'm saying now. I never understand how, you see, majority of Christians don't even read this anyway. They don't even consider this, canon. But you do. How can you read that and come to the conclusion that you're not supposed to keep the laws? But do you see the boldness that this man had? He said, because we obey, he had a boldness to know that one day, despite the persecution, Yah is going to lift you up. And why? Because we have our first fruits in the Messiah, Christ Jesus. He raised up from the dead. So he's looking at it like, look, that's my leader. My leader. And then you see, mind you got to understand the timeline, right? Christ didn't even come yet. But they always had the knowledge of one day there's going to be a Messiah. They had a promise, y'all. They had a promise deep inside their bosom, resonating with them. And we hear about this great prophet that's going to come one day, this Messiah that's going to come. Right? And it's almost like in Isaiah 53, right? How does it start? Who have believed the report, and to whom is the arm of Yahweh revealed? For he shall grow before them as a tender plant, as a root out of dry ground. For he has no form nor comeliness that one should desire him. Right? No one desired the Messiah. No one desired the Messiah. And that's why they beat him down, right? And mind you, they knew of this. You see, this Isaiah already wrote this in Isaiah 53, y'all. He was wounded for our transgression, bruised for our iniquity. This is what they wrote. You see, so all the people who were reading these things, they said, surely the Messiah is going to go through this persecution already. And then coupled with the fact that now, not only do they have a promise in Isaiah 53 and all the various volumes of the book that it contains Christ, but now you have someone like an Eliezer who said, I'm going to die for my conviction so I could leave an example to these young men. And now, this is the reason why they had this boldness, y'all. But I'm trying to tell y'all today, the boldness that you should have should come from the simple fact that you keeping the laws. You see, people can say whatever they want about you. Look, again, ain't none of us were being fried and cooked in no pan, y'all. Ain't none of us had our tongues cut out, y'all. Ain't none of us had our hands and our feet chopped off. Ain't none of us had our hair pulled out, our beard pulled out, our skin ripped off. Ain't none of us went through that. So especially in this daytime and hour, man, what excuse do we have to not have boldness to stand up for his laws? Look at that. Timothy chapter 5, right? That type of boldness and steadfastness can only come from practicing it many times. So when pressure came to bear down on him, he was able to stand. There you go. There you go. And think about it this way too, right? Not only did Eliezer influence and inspire the young men behind him, but that brother is probably the first brother that died. He's probably inspiring all his other brothers to go through the same thing. When he said, remember how he responded? What do you hope to gain by doing this? The other brothers were probably looking at him like, that's my brother right there. They see, and then this is what I'm saying. Many of us, we need to actually be encouraging one another through our boldness, because you say what it says: a 2, 3, 4 fold cord is not easily broken. You see, if one person stands up, that's going to influence another person to stand up, and that influences another person to stand up, and now all of a sudden, look at all this entire congregation. You know what I'm saying? One can put 1,000 to flight. Two can put 10,000 to flight. All the spirits in the air, the principalities and powers. When you overcome over these spirits, you embolden your brothers to overcome that same spirit of fear that's probably keeping them bound. And this is what I'm saying. Y'all need to stand, y'all. Be a true leader. And a leader is not based off of your age. No. It's your example, y'all. It's your example. Or you can be a leader for all the men in here that have, wives, children. You don't gotta be an elderly man. Be a leader for your own. Be a priest for your own home, y'all. How? By standing on y'all's laws, not worrying how man is gonna talk about you. That's how you be a leader for your home. You women, you can be leaders for your children too. You know what I'm saying? Stand on that word. You see the mom, what she's doing right there? You see what the mom is doing. They said when that man died, that the mom along with the 6 other brothers, were encouraging him. And this, you guys, this is the subtle details, y'all. I want you to really focus on the nature of the man, because a lot of times people, they always try to view leadership in terms of like, oh, the men. I want you to look at the mother's responses, y'all. You see, these women, the women, I'm gonna tell y'all right now, y'all more than just, yes, sir, yes, sir, putting your head down and thinking that's a meek and quiet spirit. No, y'all more than that. Y'all more than just laying on your back, being barefoot and pregnant. Y'all more than that. Y'all more than that. There's a way that you can lead, there's a way that you can walk in your life that you leave an example unto your sons, your children. Let's get back to it, y'all. He replied in his native language, I will never eat it. So the soldiers tortured him just as they had the first one. But with his dying breath, he cried out to the king, you butcher, you may kill us, but the king of the universe will raise us from the dead and give us eternal life because we have obeyed his laws. The soldier began entertaining themselves with the third brother. When he was ordered to stick out his tongue, he quickly did. Oh my. Look at this, y'all. They said the soldiers began to entertain themselves with the third brother. When he was ordered to stick out his tongue, he quickly did so. So that means he was not even scared. He was just like, oh, come on, let's get it. Let's get it. Come on with it. He quickly did so. Then he bravely held out his hands and courageously said, Yah gave these to me. Oh my gosh. Doesn't that echo what Job said? Hey, from the dirt I came, to the dirt I'm going to return. He knew where he came from. I want to share this verse with y'all. Do you understand? There's a passage in scripture I believe it's in Sirach. It says, how can dirt and ashes be proud? How can dirt and ashes be proud? You see, if you actually know where you came from, and you came from the dirt of the field, the ground, right? Do you understand? That's the same dirt that you step on every single day, the same dirt that you spit on, the same dirt that animals graze upon, and they take a dump on. That's that same dirt that you came from. And how can you be proud? How can you have such a sense of self-importance to the point where you think that you are above certain things? No. He said, look, man, I know where I came from. I know where I came from. And look at how he responds, y'all. Look at how he responds. God gave these to me, but his laws mean more to me than my hands. And I know Yah will give them back to me again. I know that Yah will give them back to me again. I'm sorry I keep pausing, but this gets so beautiful. Think about that, right? It says it's better for you to enter into the kingdom maimed, right? So if you know that, your hand offends you and then Messiah says cut it off. So think about it from this standpoint. Maybe there's an expectation, right? Is your hand more important to you than serving the Most High? Is your tongue, your eyes, your ears? Now, I'm not tempting the Most High. I'm not, I'm grateful. I'm sure many of you are. I'm sure many of us are grateful for the lives that we have, for the bodies, the limbs that we have. But if we were to lose those things, do you have that undying faith that one day you will receive it back? Because you see, when Job lost what he got, what happened at the end? Yeah, I know. Put it in the chat. What happened to Job at the end? When he lost the things that he lost, he got it right back. Hey, Timothy, there you go. Ecclesiasticus or Sirach 10 verse 9. Why is earth and ashes proud? There is not more wicked thing than a covetous man, for such an one setteth his own soul to sell. Because while he lived, he casteth away his bowels. Come on, man. You see, but going back, right? How many of you are willing to lose these members? You're willing to lose these members. Why? Because you have that faith that one day Yah is going to give it back to you. I mean, that's what it says. I didn't say that. That's what it says in the word, y'all. And the king and those with him were amazed. You see, so now at this point, We down to what? 2 of them already had died. So now this is the 5th one. And at this point, look at what they're saying, y'all. They had the 3rd brother. The kings and those with him were amazed because they're like, yo, look at this courage and at his willingness to suffer. After he had died, the soldiers tortured the 4th one in the same cruel way. But his final words were, I am glad to die at your hands because we have the assurance that Yah will raise us from the dead. You see, this is where their faith stands, Yah. But there will be no resurrection to life for you, Antiochus. Man, you see, this is what I'm saying, y'all. So in other words, the people that are quote unquote persecuting you, let them persecute you. Why? Because you know one day Yah's gonna raise you up. But for those who persecute you, they got their end. Don't worry about it. Let them fill up their cup. Let the heathen rage, as the Psalms say, right? When, or was it? I think that be Proverbs. Excuse me. But listen, right? When the soldiers took the 5th boy and began torturing him, he looked the king squarely in his eyes and said, look, squarely, y'all. Do you not know what that means? Not shaking, not wavering. He looked him in his eye like a man. And what he says, what does he say, y'all? You have the power to do whatever you want with us, even though you also are mortal. But do not think that Yah has abandoned our people. Just wait. Yah will use his great power to torture you and your descendants. Man, I can only imagine at this point in time, the king is powerless, like, yo, these people, what in the world is going on? Check this out, y'all. 18. Then the soldiers took the 6th boy, and just before he died, he said, make no mistake, we are suffering what we deserve. Oh, that's a new one there. That's a new thought pattern right here. We are suffering what we deserve because we have sinned against our Yah. That's why all these terrible things are happening to us. But don't think for a minute that you will avoid being punished for fighting against Yah. Man, let me tap onto this. That's this right here. That's a different thought process. You know, many times when you're going through these afflictions in your life, you got to remember Yah is a just Elohim, right? And does Yah have the ability to bless you? Yeah, sure he does. But have we ever asked ourselves, what are the things that we've done in times past that's making us pay in this current present moment? You know, many times, you know, you might perhaps lose a job, right, for the sake of your faith. Maybe you lost that boyfriend, that girlfriend, that child, as Lamar pointed out, for the sake of the faith. But what did you do in times past? Now, I'm not here to condemn you. I'm just saying this is the reflection we must go through, because this sixth son right here, he presented a new thought pattern. We are suffering for our sins. You know, when you really put it in context, right? You know, the book of Maccabees, they were under the Grecian Empire. But you got to think about it, right? What has Israel done time and time again? Didn't they always forsake the laws and commandments of the Most High to seek after their lovers of the world, the heathens of this world? They want to be just like them. So indeed, they're paying for their sins. But you see, here's the thing. This is what's so beautiful about Yah, right? Yah is just. So he has to reward evil with evil. And then, so let me explain even furthermore, right? You have to pay for your mistakes because every sin there's a sacrifice for it. So the things you're going through, you have to understand where its origins come from. But just like that boy said, let's go back and read it. But don't think for a minute that you will avoid being punished for fighting against Yah. You see, the thing that we need to understand, we need to have the maturity that, look, Yah, let me suffer for the things that I've done. Because this is what you need to understand. In the suffering that we're going through, at the very least, I could be, what's it called? On your good side. At least I could be on your good side. But for those who's filling up their cup and they never get chastised by the Most High, it's because the Most High don't love them. Oh, Nick, how can you say that? No, that's the word. Many people may think that the Yahweh loves everybody. I don't. The word says what? Jacob have I loved, Esau have I hated. So the Yah don't love everybody the way you think he does. And it's furthermore, it says that Yah chastises those whom he loves. You see, when you're going through your punishment and your affliction, it's all because the Most High loves you. And like I said, it's better to get that whipping now. It's better to get that whipping now. You know, some sins go before people and some come behind. Yeah, it's better for those sins to go before you. Present it to the Most High. Let him chastise you right there and then. So at least you can be on his good side. But for all those people filling up their cup, the people that's constantly persecuting you, just understand they have their reward. Why? Because they're fighting against Yah. And don't you fight against Yah. Don't ever become so prideful to think that the things that you're going through is unjust. No, Yah is just. Everything you're going through is just. Everything you're going through is just. For those of you who have been homeless, maybe there's something that you've done in times past to get you to that point. So what you gonna do? Cry about it all day? No. Yah's still good. Yah's still good. Again, this is hard truth to take, but again, why was it put in the book? It was put in the book so that we can have an example to glean from. So I love what this brother is bringing forth because he added a sentiment that I think all the other brothers didn't add yet. Now, this is key, y'all. I want you to focus on this because, again, this is the mother now. For all my sisters out there, please pay close attention because I pray that you can actually be an example like this mother was for her children. You could be that same mother of Zion for your children in this day, time, and hour. Check what it says. It said the mother was the most amazing. Woo! The mother was the most amazing one of them all. And she deserves a special place in our memory. Why? Okay, let's see why, y'all. Although she saw her 7 sons die in a single day, she endured it with great courage because she trusted in Yahweh. She combined womanly emotion with manly courage and spoke words of encouragement to each of her sons in their native language. Do you hear what he's saying? Do you see the accolade? They said this woman deserves a special place in our memories. I want you for those, have anybody ever read the Willie Lynch letters? Please put it in the chat. Some people debate whether or not it's real or not, but I want to point out something for you guys. In the Willie Lynch letters, do you guys understand that there's a lot of psychology that was involved with the Willie Lynch letters, y'all? You see, the slave masters would buck break the men, the husbands in particular. They will buck break these men. They will make them do the most crazy things. Sometimes they even rape these men in front of their wives. Sometimes what they will do is attach one side of the man, one side of his legs and arms to a horse and the other side to another horse and command these horses to run in opposite directions, splitting that man in half. Do you understand the wickedness and how crafty these slave masters were, how creative they were in their tortures towards us as a people? And this is what was so brilliant in wickedness, y'all. This is the craftiness of their wickedness. They will do these things in front of the women. Why? Please put it down in the chat. Why do you think it was wise for them to break down these men in front of the woman? Trust me, everything I'm saying here, there's a purpose. Why do you believe it was important to break down these men into submission, sometimes break them to the point of death in front of their women? For the sake of time, a lot of these, they did that with the intent of making that woman so fearful. Let me see some of these. Before I give my response, So the woman would lose confidence in the men. That was Brother Lamar's response. The woman depend on the slave master as her head and strength. There you go. Both of these answers are correct. Both of these answers are correct. You see, in the process of doing that, from a psychological standpoint, if you witnessing, you guys, it's no different than what Peter dealt with when he witnessed his leader die, Jesus, right? When they crucified him, right? Or even, matter of fact, even prior to him being crucified, when he's literally, having to bear the stake, and they whipping him and they lashing him and they spitting in his face, and then you see the women like, hey, weren't you one of the disciples? And Peter is scared. Why? You see, psychologically, if you could beat down the leader, in front of those the followers, the followers are going to lose heart. This is why Jesus said, in that day they're going to smite the shepherd and the sheep is going to scatter. I think some of that contributed to the I don't need a man mindset. You see, there you go. And you're absolutely right. You see, because this is what takes place, right? You beat the woman, and there's something that takes place. And mind you, these women, they're not caliber women, by the way. Now, I'm not blaming them. I understand that you witnessing something extremely gruesome, but you got to understand these are not the caliber women as we're reading about in 2 Maccabees chapter 7. I'm only mentioning this to show you the contrast. You see, they beat down the men in front of the women. They killed the men in front of the women. Why? Because the woman is going to be the first line teacher of the children, right? And what that woman is going to tell the son, they're going to tell the son, hey, just be docile. Don't fight back. Don't raise your voice. Suppress your manliness, right? They're going to teach that boy to cower down. Douse that fire. Douse that fire. Don't be manly. Why? So that the mom was trying to preserve that son's life. And to the daughters, oh, nah, you don't have to trust that individual. Don't trust that man. Don't trust that man. Trust the master, right? And in their wickedness, they think they're actually preserving their children. You see, but let's contrast that. You see, the woman that we are reading about in 2 Maccabees chapter 7, despite the persecution that she's witnessing her sons go through, rather than causing the sons to cower down, she's actually encouraging them. Now, you stand strong in the law of the Most High. And this is what I mean. You women, you are extremely powerful. Speak life into your sons. Speak life into your daughters. How? By telling them to keep the commandments, stand on the courage and convictions of keeping the commandments. That's how you can strengthen your sons and daughters. Women, you have the ability to do that. Just like this woman here. Let's read it again, because they said she deserves a special place. That's what they said. The mother was the most amazing of them all, and she deserves a special place in our memory. Why? Although she saw her 7 sons die in a single day, she endured it with great courage because she trusted in Yah. Trust in Yah, my sisters. Even if you've seen your child being persecuted, sometimes you see a child, man, we don't even got to go there. How many people witness their child going through fevers? That's what I'm saying. We could glean so much because we're not even going through these circumstances. I'm just talking about basic stuff. Some of you women, y'all deal with your child getting fevers. Sometimes they get, they have all the, and I'm not going to, I don't want to pronounce nothing on y'all children. But y'all know what y'all children deal with. All these various diseases, all these drugs that was pumped up into them that causes, these weird things to take place. Whether it be ADHD, whether it be all these, y'all know what y'all deal with in your homes. And what you can do for your child is speak life into them, encourage them in the name of Jesus, and strengthen them. When they going through those moments in their lives and they say, man, mommy, why has this taken place to me? And it might break your heart because you're hearing this stuff and it probably makes you feel like, damn, I have nothing you could do. That's a lie. You can do something with them. Pray. Go on your knees, pray. Show them what it means to be a prayer warrior. Fast. Speak life into them. Tell them not to give up on the Most High. There's a lot you can do as a woman. Open up the scriptures and read with them so that you can boost up their courage. There's a lot you can do with them. And I know it may hurt when you witness your child going through these afflictions. But have faith and confidence in the Most High. Why? Have faith and confidence in the Most High. Why? Why? She combined womanly emotion with manly courage and spoke words of encouragement to each of her sons in their native language. I do not know how your life began in my womb. Wow, look at this, y'all. Sisters, this is for y'all. I do not know how your life began in my womb, she would say. I was not the one who gave you life and breath and put together each part of your body. It was Yah who did it. Yah who created the universe, the human race, and all that exists. He is merciful and will give you back life and breath again. You see, when your child is sick on that bed, speak these words into their consciousness. He is merciful and he will give you back life and breath again because you love his laws more than you love yourself. Antiochus was sure that the mother was making fun of him, so he did his best to convince her youngest son to abandon the traditions of his ancestors. So here we go, y'all. This is the last son, I believe. He promised not only to make the boy rich and famous, but to place him in a position of authority and give him the title. Look at a friend of the king. Now, you see, y'all, do y'all understand? Listen to what I'm telling y'all, and this is what I mean. Let's go back to these quote-unquote leaders back in the day, right, when we were in that cult. This is what I'm talking about. In the midst of all the persecution, how much things did the king offer them? Just so that they could get them to give up their traditions, give up their convictions. Oh man, look, I'll give you another wife. I'm gonna give you power and prestige in Israel. You see, sometimes you gotta understand, y'all, the elevation of man is a demotion, right? What's that word? You're demoted in the eyes of Yah. You may be promoted in the eyes of man, but you're demoted in the eyes of Yah. But in contrast, sometimes you may be demoted in the eyes of man, but in the eyes of Yah, he's promoting you. You see, this is why this flesh right here is temporary, y'all. It's temporary. And you would be a fool to take the bribes of men. Oh yeah, man, I'm gonna call you, you'll become a teacher. Yeah, you'll become an elder. Oh yeah, you're gonna become a pastor. They throw these titles the same way they throw that title. Yeah, you're gonna be called friend of the king. Oh, who doesn't want to become friend of the king? But this is what I'm trying to get you to understand. There's all these promotions from man. Does that trump your conviction in the Most High? Many people get bought off, y'all. But what? But the boy paid no attention to him. This is the youngest one now, y'all. So Antiochus tried to persuade the boy's mother to talk him into saving his life. Women. Y'all know y'all more emotional. Let's just keep it real, y'all. Many of you women are a lot more emotional than the men. So now let's look at the craftiness of the Hasatan now. Let's look at the craftiness of the Hasatan now. Look at what they're about to do. They're about to come to you, woman. Right, and tell you what, they're going to try to persuade you, what? To save your son's life. And look at what they say. And after much persuasion, she agreed to do so. Leaning over her son, she fooled, leaning over the son, she fooled the cruel tyrant by saying in her native language, my son, have pity on me. Remember that I carried you in my womb for 9 months and nursed you for 3 years. I have taken care of you and looked after all your needs up to the present day. So I urge you, my child, listen, women, listen what you can speak into your child's consciousness. So I urge you, my child, to look at the sky and the earth. Consider everything you see there and realize that Yah made it all from nothing, just as he had made the human race. Don't be afraid of this butcher. Give up your life. Oh, my women. Uh-oh. Can you say this to your child? Give up your life willingly and prove yourself worthy of your brothers, so that by Yah's mercy I may receive you back with them at the resurrection. Y'all, you don't even understand how excited I am. In other words, this woman was so sure that the 6 before the last one, she was so sure that they all are going to make it into the kingdom. So she's leaning over her son and she's trying to speak a word to her son right before she passes away. And she's just like, look, give up your life willingly. Why? Because I'm going to get you back in the kingdom. Hallelujah. You guys, do you understand how excited this gets me out? That a mother had the boldness to actually speak such a word to her child. That woman must have known something, y'all. Do you know Jesus? Do you know him? Do you know where you're going to go when that breath leaves your body? You better find out. You better find out. You better have 100% assuredness that when that breath leaves your body, that you will resurrect with our King. And with that type of confidence, speak that, men, into your wives and children. Women, speak that into their children. You make sure that they never lose faith, never lose heart in the King, y'all. I don't care what sickness, what disease may be present. I don't care how much man is going to speak down on you. I don't care how much times man is going to try to berate you and lambast you. Ain't nothing worth losing your soul salvation. If you know that pig is unclean, then damn it, don't eat that pig. If you know that you are in a place where the commandments are not being kept, then damn it, leave. And don't worry about these cults that's going to talk about you. The cults are a dime a dozen. But you only have one soul, y'all. You only have one soul. If you know, look, I'm not talking about speculation. I'm talking about you have a bunch of evidence all pointing out that you are probably in a place where they are not upholding the Yah, your King, your Father, Yah Abba. They are not keeping the law, statutes, and commandments. Why are you dragging your damn feet? Embrace that death. Embrace that death, yeah. Mind you, the death that we're talking about, it's not even that real death that they went through. I'm going to say it again. Ain't nobody cutting your tongue. Ain't nobody chopping your hands off. Ain't nobody pulling you, separating you apart. Ain't nobody putting you in a boiling pot. Man, the stuff that we deal with, we so weak as a damn people, y'all. We so damn weak. How many times are we going to read these testimonies of our forefathers, foremothers, and there's things that the tribulations that they went through, and you worried about a man speaking about you? Come on, man. Come on, man. Let's finish this up. Don't be afraid of this butcher. Give up your life willingly and prove yourself worthy of your brothers, so that by Yah's mercy I may receive you back with them at the resurrection. Before she could finish speaking, the boy said, King Antiochus, what are you waiting? Ooh, what are you waiting for, homie? Get on with it. I refuse to obey your orders. I only obey the commands in the law which Moshe gave to our ancestors. Stop. Yeah. I don't listen to man. It's what this boy is saying. I don't give two shits what man has to say. I only obey. You see, there's people that used to throw these terms out there. Obedience is better than sacrifice. Is that in the Bible? Yeah, it is in the Bible. But they wasn't referring to man. Obey those that have the rule over you and all these stuff. Obey. Man, obey who though? You obey Yah. Y'all better obey Yah. Y'all better obey Yah. And the moment that man is deviating from that, you don't subject yourself to that. You better learn to discern right from wrong. Is that really what Yah is telling me? And how can you know if you don't read that book for yourself to know the actual law, statutes, and commandments? Y'all better study up, y'all. Y'all better stop leaning on man to feed you. Y'all better stop leaning on man to always spoon feed you with knowledge and understanding. Y'all better start reading that word for yourself. Y'all better start reading that word for yourself. So that when somebody tries to deceive you, you will have a filter in your mind to be, oh no, that's not the word of Yah. No, I reject that. That's not coming from Yah. Because a lot of shysters out there, they're gonna tell you, obedience is better than sacrifice. Obey those that have the rule of. They're gonna use all these verses out of context to get you to submit to them. No. You submit unto Yah. You submit unto Yah. I refuse to obey your orders. I only obey the commands in the law which Moshe gave to our ancestors. You have thought of all kinds of cruel things to do to our people, but you won't escape the punishment of Yah that Yah has in store for you. This is the youngest one speaking, y'all. It is true that our living Elohim is angry with us. And is making us suffer because of our sins in order to correct and discipline us. Come on, preach here, young brother. But this will last only a short while, for we are still his servants, and he will forgive us. Come on, man. This is what I'm talking about. This brother must have known something. Come on, and I'm trying to speak to you, Israel. The stuff that you go through, it's only for a short while. But Yah is going to forgive you. But you are the cruelest and most disgusting thing that ever lived. So don't fool yourself with illusions of greatness while you punish Yah's people. You see what I'm saying? There is no way for you to escape punishment at the hands of the Almighty and all-seeing Yah. My brothers suffered briefly because of their faithfulness. Look at that. They suffered what? Briefly. Understand that, my people. The stuff that you're going through, the being ridiculed, being spoken ill about, right? Homelessness, losing your wife, that's suffering briefly. It's only for a short time, y'all. Endure, my people, because what? Because of your faithfulness to Yah's covenant. But now they have entered eternal life. But you will fall under Yah's judgment and be punished as you deserve for your arrogance. For your arrogance. I now give up my body and my life for the laws of our ancestors. Look at that. I now give up my body and my life for the laws of our ancestors, just as my brothers did. But I also beg Yah to show mercy to his people quickly and to torture you until you are forced to acknowledge that he alone is Yah. Do you see that even after all of this, look at what that brother said. He said, but I also beg Yah to show mercy to his people quickly and to torture you until you are forced to acknowledge that he alone is Yah. That's the prayer that we need to have. The people that persecute us, the people that persecute the righteous, right? May the Most High persecute them. But to what end? So that they can acknowledge that Yah, and acknowledge that he, Elohim, right? Yahweh is Yah alone. May my brothers and I be the last to suffer the anger of Yahweh Almighty, which he has justly brought upon our entire nation. Look at that. He justly brought upon our entire nation. So look at that. He's not bitter. He's not butthurt. Again, y'all, the things that take place to you, you looking at it all wrong. Oh, woe is me. Why did this happen to me? It happened to you because you might have done something. But even at that, what? It's still just. God is just through it all. These words of ridicule made Antiochus so furious that he had the boy tortured even more cruelly than his brothers. What can be more cruel than having your tongue cut out, or having your hair pulled out, or having your arms chopped off and your feet chopped off? Think about that, y'all. What can be more cruel than that? And yet this took place to the youngest boy. The youngest of them all had the most to say. The youngest of them all had the most to say, perhaps the most powerful words to say. And where did that power and strength come from? From his mother, the mother that spoke a word into his spirit. That mother fueled this young boy. You see, that mother wasn't telling him to cower down. Oh, just protect yourself, just stay out of the master's way. No, she didn't say none of that. She encouraged that boy to die for Yah's laws. And so the boy died with absolute trust in Yahweh, never unfaithful for a minute. Never unfaithful for a minute. Never unfaithful for a minute. Last of all, the mother was put to death. But I have said enough about the Jews being tortured and being forced to eat the intestines of sacrificial animals. And that's it, y'all. Man. I really pray that this was edifying. I wanted to just do a study. And, honestly, I don't know how this keeps happening. I really didn't think it was going to be this long. But I really do appreciate all of you guys for, fellowshipping with me. I really just wanted to give this word of encouragement. Again, I titled it True Leaders Die for What They Believe in. And, I think at times you may peer out and we assume that, these leaders are only these people that were, ordained, and that's not the case. I think every single one of you possess the ability to be leaders in your homes, y'all. You have the ability to lead by your example through your lifestyle, and you have a way of leading a generation after you by standing on Yah's laws. Be a leader, a true believer, a true leader that does what? That dies for what they believe in. Because if you're gonna rely on these men in times past, you're gonna be sorely disappointed. You're gonna be sorely disappointed because these are men who they're gonna say the right things. They're gonna say the right things, but you know what they are? This is what they are. Just like I showed you in the beginning, they're just bosses. That's all they are. They're gonna try to pump you up. Could you imagine if the mom was this individual who pumped these boys to do all the work, but while she just relaxes? No. That Eleazar, right? Eleazar from chapter 6, that mom from chapter 7, that's a leader. Encouraging their brothers because they're willing to do this. She's willing to do the same exact thing. That's a true leader. That's a true leader. Let me read some of these stuff. Timothy, all the apostle Paul went through, he called it light. Yeah, light work. Light work. 2 Corinthians 4:17, for our light affliction, which is but for a moment, working for us a far more exceeding and eternal weight of glory. Brother, you spot on. Sister Chase, yes, sir, speak that truth. Kitchen clock, exactly. Obey Yah, not these people who think they're rulers over you. That's it. That's it, my sister. Only for a season. Suffering is only for a season. That's it. Bless you, Sister Angelica. I'm glad this was encouraging. Good word. Praise Yah for you, Brother Nick. This was very edifying and much needed. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. I pray it was edifying. And I want to just leave this, in our spirits, yeah, because this is one thing I really want to stress out. What is this thing all about? I just want this question. I hope you guys really meditate on it. I hope, Sister Yard and Glory, bless you, sis. Bless you. I just want to leave this last question with you guys. We don't even need to answer it. But when we came to the faith, what was all of this about? What was all of this about? You see, I kept seeing a consistent theme with all those brothers that died. Even through the persecution, every single one of them said the same thing over and over. That although I might be persecuted now in this present moment, that Yah will resurrect us. That's all I really have for y'all. What is all of this truly about? Because a lot of us may be distracted and missing the point of this walk. I said we didn't have to answer, but I love the answers coming in. Returning to his covenant, that's it. Obedience, that's it. That's it. Timothy, thank you for sharpening, brother. Hey, bless you. Y'all sharpen me. That's just a question that I have. Because sometimes I really do believe when I peer out, many people lost sight of what this whole walk is about. And this is the reason why they bought off. This is the reason why they don't stand on the courage of their convictions. When the time comes for you to actually stand on Yah's laws and be obedient unto him to return to his covenant, these people are bought off through promises of multiple women, promises of money, promises of prestige and elevation and status. But people lost sight of what this whole thing was truly about. And I think in all of this, the answers that was given, returning to his covenant from Brother Lamar and Sister Shay, obedience, I think all of that can be summed up in Christ Jesus. All of that. Because that's the whole point why Christ came back. Right? Where he said, if you love me, if you love me, then what? Keep my commandments. Keep my commandments. And in the keeping of his commandments, right, which are holy, Kodesh, think about that, yeah? That's what's going to truly set you apart. You see, the set apart is not something that you say in word alone. You're going to be set apart because the laws that you keep is so unique that people have no choice either to love you or hate you. And majority of the people in the world, especially the world, like we read, they're going to hate you. So when you get persecuted, why are you fretting? Why are you disturbed? Why are you confused? Don't you know that the persecution was going to come? But you haven't expected end, y'all. You haven't expected end. Anyway, love you all dearly. Thank you once again for fellowshipping with me. In the mighty name of Jesus Christ, I pray that you all have a peaceful and restful preparation day as we enter into Yah's Shabbat. Love you all dearly. Bless you, my brother. Thank you for your time, Brother Nick, enjoying your work. Hey, bless you dearly. Love you all. In Jesus' mighty name, shalom, shalom, shalom.
Lift them up and give it praise. 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 We lift them up and give it praise. Lift them up and give it praise. We lift them up and give them. We lift them up and give them. Yahweh, Yahweh, higher, higher, oh Yahweh. We lifting you higher, 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 oh Yahweh. We lifting you higher, higher. In the shout for Yah, all the is everlasting, and His truth to all generations. Enter His gates with thanksgiving, and into His courts with praise. Give thanks to Him, bless His holy name. For Yahweh is good, His love and commitment is everlasting, and His truth to all generations. Enter His gates with thanksgiving, and into His courts with praise. Give thanks to Him, bless His holy name. For Yahweh is good, His love and commitment is everlasting, and His truth to all generations. Enter His gate with thanksgiving, and into His courts with praise. Thanks to Him, bless His holy name. For Yahweh is good, His love and commitment is everlasting, and His truth to all generations.